Welcome learners to a natural sciences lesson. So today we're going to be dealing with the balancing of chemical equations. So let's start. Before we get to the actual content, did you know that balancing equations is more like balancing x in a mathematical equation? Basically what we normally say is what you do on the left you must do on the right so that you can keep both sides equal. So in this lesson, we're going to be exploring the balancing of equations, the do's and the don'ts of balancing a chemical reaction or a biochemical equation. So what we need to then achieve by the end of this lesson is the following. Number one, you need to be able to display an understanding of the concepts. The concepts are the chemical reaction and chemical bond. And then also, you need to be able to write word-based chemical reaction equations. And then you also need to apply the rules of balancing a chemical equations. And then lastly, use the rules of balancing a chemical equation to actually balance the chemical equation. So, with our main idea being the balancing equations, you're going to break it into small concepts that we can tackle one at a time. So to start with, we are going to be looking at chemical equations, what chemical equations are and what do they entail. We're also going to be looking at the rules of balancing the chemical reactions. And then lastly, we're going to now then start balancing the chemical equations using the rules that we would have learned when we are going through this lesson. So things that you should already know about this lesson is as follows. Number one, atoms in a compound are held together by attractive forces. A compound is a substance made of two or more different elements. And then lastly, the properties of the molecules in a compound are different from the properties of their atoms in their respective elements. Now, throughout this lesson, we are going to be trying to balance the equations using what we know and what we'll be learning. So these questions that we have here are asking us certain questions based on what we already know. So let's see if we can answer these questions. So refer to the chemical reaction below and answer the questions. So we are given this chemical reaction between carbon and H2O. So carbon C plus water H2O reacting to form CO plus H2, carbon monoxide and hydrogen gas. Question 1, we need to write down the name and the formula of the reactants of the above reaction. Remember that the reactants are written on the left-hand side of the equal sign or the left-hand side of the react to form sign. So this is your left-hand side and that's your right-hand side. So the reactants are C, which is our carbon, and then we have H2O, and that is water. Then question B, write down the name and the formula of the products of the reaction. So if the reactants are written on the left-hand side, then obviously the products must be written on the right-hand side of our react to form sign. So the products are CO and H2. So CO is your carbon monoxide. And then H2 is your hydrogen gas. Then question C. We need to turn the unbalanced chemical equation below into a word equation. So we need to write this chemical formula in terms of a word equation. We have magnesium as our Mg, reacting with oxygen, reacting to form magnesium oxide, reacting to form magnesium oxide. So this is our word equation for this unbalanced chemical equation. Now, moving on, we also need to keep in mind that when we are going through this entire lesson, there are certain words which are going to be new to you. Words such as chemical reaction, reactants, products, subscripts, and coefficients. And you might also note that some of these words you might have heard them before, so therefore some of these words might be new and some you've already know them because we've been going through over and over these words. So as I've said, the words that you're going to be talking about throughout the lesson are chemical reaction, reactants, products, subscripts, and coefficient. So before we get started with the actual content of what we are going to be doing with the chemical reactions, we are just going to quickly take an ad break, and I'll see you just after this.